2 hours ago, Donald Trump posted something that reveals the catastrophic reality of his Iran war strategy. He wrote, "The countries of the world that receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage, and we will help." LOT. Translation: America cannot secure the Strait of Hormuz alone. Trump needs China, Japan, Korea, India, and Europe to help open the world's most strategic waterway that Iran just shut down. After declaring he completely decimated Iran, Trump is now asking the world for help, and the world is watching oil prices cross $100 a barrel, while Trump admits he doesn't have a plan. But before we break down what this means, if you appreciate this kind of analysis, hit that subscribe button and like this video so you never miss a story like this. The Iran war is now in its 16th day. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched a military campaign against Iran following escalating tensions in the region. Trump declared the operation would be swift and decisive. 16 days later, over 1,400 people are dead. More than 10,000 residential homes in Tehran have been damaged or destroyed. The U.S. Defense Secretary claims 15,000 enemy targets have been struck. Iran's senior military leadership has been decimated. The defense minister is dead. The chief of staff of Iran's armed forces is dead. Multiple IRGC commanders are dead. By every conventional military metric, Iran has suffered catastrophic losses. Yet the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and that is the only metric that actually matters. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway between Iran and Oman through which approximately 20% of the world's oil passes. It is one of the most strategic choke points on the planet. When Iran effectively shut it down in response to American strikes, global oil markets convulsed. Brent crude crossed $100 per barrel. The International Energy Agency announced emergency measures to release 400 million barrels of oil from strategic reserves. The United States committed 172 million barrels. Europe committed 107.5 million barrels. Asian countries are releasing their stocks immediately. These are not routine market interventions. These are panic measures designed to prevent a global energy crisis from spiraling into economic collapse. Trump's Truth Social post came on March 15, 2026, and it contains a remarkable admission. The countries of the world that receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage, and we will help. ALOT, he added. The US will also coordinate with those countries so that everything goes quickly, smoothly, and well. This should have always been a team effort, and now it will be. Read that carefully. Trump is saying the United States cannot secure the Strait of Hormuz on its own. He is asking China, Japan, South Korea, India, and Europe to take responsibility for reopening a waterway that American military action caused Iran to close. This is not a minor detail. This is the entire war strategy collapsing in real time. Energy Secretary Chris Wright appeared on ABC this week and said he expects the war to end in the next few weeks. Could be sooner than that. He added that other countries are expected to help the U.S. secure the strait. When pressed on whether China would be involved, Wright confirmed, "The world depends on the flows through Hormuz, and most importantly the Asian nations, Japan, Korea, China, Thailand, India. A meaningful part of their total energy supplies come from the Strait of Hormuz. So of course the whole world will be united on the need to open Hormuz." Notice what he is saying. The United States launched a war against Iran without securing buy-in from the countries that depend most on Hormuz remaining open. And now, 16 days into the conflict, with oil over $100 per barrel, Trump is asking those countries to fix the problem America created. The irony is staggering. China is Iran's strategic partner. China and Iran have deep economic and security ties. China buys Iranian oil. China provides Iran with diplomatic cover at the United Nations. Yet Trump is now asking China to help secure a waterway against a country China supports. Why would China do that? Because China needs the oil that flows through Hormuz. Chinese energy security depends on that strait being open. So Trump is betting that Chinese self-interest will override Chinese alignment with Iran. That may work, but it means Trump is admitting that American military power alone cannot achieve the war's primary objective. He needs China's cooperation. That is not a position of strength. That is a position of dependency. The phrase that keeps getting cited is Colin Powell's famous Pottery Barn rule. If you break it, you own it. But as one analyst noted, in this case, if we break it, we co-own it with China. The United States broke the Strait of Hormuz by going to war with Iran. Now Trump is asking China to help fix it. That fundamentally undermines the entire premise of the war. Trump told the American people this would be a quick, decisive operation that would restore order and secure energy supplies. Instead, it has become a protracted conflict that requires Chinese assistance to achieve its core objective. And if China becomes essential to securing Hormuz, then China gains leverage over American strategy in the Middle East. That is the opposite of what Trump promised. The political implications are severe. Midterm elections are scheduled for November 2026. Gasoline prices in the United States are climbing as oil crosses $100 per barrel. Every dollar increase in oil prices translates to higher costs at the pump, higher inflation, and voter anger. Trump's approval ratings are already under pressure. A February poll found that 54% of voters opposed Trump's tariffs. The stock market entered correction territory, losing over $4 trillion in 3 weeks. Michigan Republicans are panicking because Trump's trade war with Canada is destroying their electoral prospects. Now add an energy crisis driven by a Middle East war with no clear exit strategy. House Democrats are already preparing a war powers resolution to rein in Trump's authority. If gasoline hits $5 per gallon by summer, Republicans will face a bloodbath in November. Trump's statement that Iran wants to make a deal but the terms aren't good enough yet is contradicted by Iran's own statements. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi appeared on CBS Face the Nation and said Iran has never asked for a ceasefire. "We are ready to defend as long as it takes," he said. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is buried under rubble from American strikes, but Araghchi said Iran could retrieve it under international supervision if they choose. The message is clear: Iran is not capitulating. Iran is not desperate for a deal. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, and as long as Iran controls that choke point, they have leverage. Every day the strait remains closed, oil prices stay elevated, global economic pressure increases, and Trump's political position weakens. Iran can afford to wait. Trump cannot. The United States has superior military power. American airstrikes have devastated Iranian infrastructure. Iran's military leadership is dead. Iran's nuclear facilities are damaged. But none of that changes the fundamental reality. Iran can keep the Strait of Hormuz closed with relatively low-cost methods. Laying mines, threatening shipping with small boats, launching missiles at tankers. Iran does not need a functional military to disrupt Hormuz. It just needs the will to keep fighting. And as long as Iran is willing to endure punishment, the strait stays closed, oil stays expensive, and Trump's war looks increasingly like a strategic failure. Trump's appeal to the international community is an admission that the war has not achieved its objectives. If the United States had secured the Strait of Hormuz through military action, Trump would not be asking China for help. He would be declaring victory and moving on. Instead, he is coordinating with countries that have no interest in seeing Iran collapse because they need regional stability more than they need regime change in Tehran. China wants oil flowing. Japan wants energy security. Korea wants stability. India wants access to Gulf energy. None of those countries benefit from a prolonged war that keeps Hormuz closed. So they may cooperate with Trump's request to secure the strait. But that cooperation will come with conditions, and those conditions will limit American freedom of action in the region. The deeper problem is that Trump launched this war without thinking through the endgame. Defeating Iran militarily does not automatically reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Destroying Iranian infrastructure does not make tankers safe to transit the waterway. Killing Iranian generals does not eliminate the threat of mines, missiles, and asymmetric warfare. Trump assumed that overwhelming force would compel Iranian surrender. Instead, Iran absorbed the punishment and retaliated by closing the world's most important oil choke point. Now Trump is stuck. He cannot escalate further without risking a wider regional war. He cannot withdraw without admitting failure. And he cannot reopen Hormuz without Chinese help. That is not a winning position. That is a strategic dead end. 2 hours ago, Trump posted that countries receiving oil through Hormuz must take care of the passage and the US will help. 16 days ago, Trump said the United States had completely decimated Iran. One of those statements is true, the other is spin. Iran is decimated militarily, but strategically, Iran still controls the waterway that matters most. And Trump just admitted he needs the world's help to fix the problem his war created. That is not victory, that is damage control. And the damage is far from over. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe so you do not miss what happens next.